Tell me, what's all this commotion about?
It's the Denton and Sasquatch Show.
This place is half talk show, half weird daycare. I love it.
Reports of strong interference with radio.
Here we go.
Hello and welcome once again to the Denton and Sasquatch Show. My name is Sasquatch, and the guy on the other end of the mic, his name is Denton. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. Yes, my name is Denton. Yes, this is the Denton and Sasquatch Show coming to you live. Well, via podcast, not live. However, if you would like to contact me and or Denton and Sasquatch, you can do that at dentonandsasshow@gmail.com. Or if you're into Taurus weapons, or if you're just into weapons at all, come on over and holler at us at taurusarmed.net. Now, do you believe that everything's going to hell in a handbasket? And some folks don't even know how we got in a handbasket to begin with, but you really don't care if they know or not? Come on and down to prepperforums.net, where we talk about everything from making your own candles to firearms to, well, we're kind of heavy in politics too. But, you know, after a hard day of growing your own corn, nothing makes you more satisfied than talking about politics. Don't you agree?
Yes, after I get done growing my corn.
Speaking of you growing anything, how's the weather in California?
Well, it's been windy, and that has actually killed or almost killed a lot of my crops. My tomatoes are falling off the vine, and my jalapenos are shriveling up. But besides that, it's all right.
Well, it's my understanding, according to Jerry Moonbeam Brown, who is your governor, that this whole fire and brimstone thing is here to stay.
He's not
here to stay.
He's not my governor.
Hey, you're governor. You living in California?
He's talking about the wildfires up north?
Yes.
Yeah. He tends to go overboard on that quite a bit.
Really?
Yes, it's gonna be fire and brimstone because of global warming. If you don't believe me, just look at what's been happening all over the state, all over the country. People are gonna die. Crops are gonna die. We've got to do something about this global warming.
I had no idea we had a guest speaker on today.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do Brown because he's such an idiot.
Well, I'm sorry that y'all are saddled with such an idiot for a governor, but y'all voted for him.
Oh, I didn't vote for him.
I was about to say by y'all, I mean, you know, apparently the majority of Californians, and that's sad.
I can't even remember the last time we had a good governor in this state.
Well, Reagan?
Probably.
Yeah.
I was a little young back then, but...
Well, that was in the 70s, so I was pretty young myself.
I'll tell you what, Schwarzenegger, he was promising in the beginning, but then he just flipped into a total liberal and screwed up everything.
Well, you could see that coming. I mean, you really could. I mean, he was, look who he was married to. That's all you need to know.
Well, no, he tried to do some stuff here, but the state Senate would, they would attack him on everything. And he was the kind of person that he wanted to be loved. So finally he just gave in and said, okay, I'll do whatever you want. Just love me.
So they told him to get to the chopper?
Yeah. Get to the chopper. It's not the tumor.
Well, it's not the what?
It's not the tumor.
It's not the tumor. Well, for the Democrats it is. Oh, by the way, if we're having any technical difficulties, it's because I still can't remember my password to the router, and my son's not here yet, and so, well, I'm just doing the best I can. So I want to apologize up front to any, bad spots in this recording. However, since we're talking about politics, we've already covered a little bit of California. I want to go to Alabama, if we may. And you're probably saying, what do I care about Alabama politics? Well, I'll tell you. Is this a constitutional republic or a democracy?
Well, that depends on who you ask.
Well, it started out as a constitutional republic.
It's supposed to be that, but...
It is no longer a constitutional republic. Do you realize that the laws, Congress makes a little bill and they give a little stamp of approval, and they send it to the president, and he gives his little stamp of approval. Back then, in the beginning, those laws were only for D.C. and the other federal territories.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, that is not the case. Nowadays, their laws can affect each and every one of us. We were supposed to be citizens of the states and, as they say, sovereign men on the land, because we were not supposed to be saddled with a bunch of federal bull crap. But that's not the case. Therefore, when any state is looking to send a senator, that's going to affect everybody. Anyway, Pelosi, House of Representatives, when she was talking about she wanted to send San Francisco values to the rest of the country, she understood what she was saying. So let's look real quickly, touch on Roy Moore. And by the way, I am going to make my second endorsement for a politician or going to be politician on this show tonight.
Ooh, I can't wait.
It's going to be great, and you're going to love this guy, and you're going to vote for this guy. You're going to move to Alabama so that you can vote for this guy.
Watch what you wish for.
Now, why am I talking about Roy Moore yet again? Well, I'll tell you why. Because.
Well, let me guess. It's because the media is attacking him every which way they can.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, yeah. CNN, speaking of which, CNN reached back to 2011. This article is entitled Roy Moore in 2011, getting rid of amendments after 10th would eliminate many problems, which I kind of agree with. Okay, now, because, really, the voting minorities and women, that kind of stuff, you can erase that amendment now. Thou shalt not own slaves. You can erase that. We got that. Okay, move on. If those two amendments were just deleted, I wouldn't go and grab my next door neighbor who's black and say, "Come here."
You're mine now.
And I wouldn't tell my wife, "You can't vote now." Dingbat. Get in there and make me a sandwich. It wouldn't work that way. Okay, but do you remember? I think the 17th Amendment?
Yes, establishes direct election of the United States senators by a popular vote.
Right. See, that's part of the thing that killed us as a constitutional republic. We were not supposed to be voting for the Senate. We voted for, and when I say we, particular people, those who own property, have stake, or as they like to say nowadays, and I can't stand it, but I'm going to say it anyway, skin in the game. If you had skin in the game, you could vote for your House of Representatives. The state legislators sent the senators up there. That way, the people were represented, and so were the individual states. Right? We don't have that. Now we have idiot liars lying to idiot, uninformed, ignorant voters who elect these idiot liars. And then we wonder why we're so deep in debt, our rights are being eroded, and we're generally pissy when it comes to politics.
Uh-huh.
Now, on top of that, the 14th Amendment. He also talked about the 14th Amendment. He's not a big fan of the 14th Amendment. I'm not either, because of the fact that the 14th Amendment did not just make blacks citizens. It also incorporated all of us into the federal government. We were never supposed to be that way. I'm not going to go really deep into the weeds on this. We can do that another time if you like. I kind of get tired of it. But that's another thing that's just has killed the constitutional republic and made us a democracy. So CNN is, of course, attacking Roy Moore. We're getting right down to the wire. Tuesday is just a couple of days away.
Thank God. Thank God. I'm so tired of hearing all this.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's not going to stop then.
Oh, of course not.
We'll be talking about how they're attacking Roy Moore and not seating him and that kind of stuff. Please don't seat him.
Roy Moore is causing global warming. I'm sorry, Jerry Brown just came out of me real quick.
Again, he's still in the studio. Don't seat him. Go ahead. You know what? Alabamians are a bunch of rebellious, anti-authoritarian type people anyway. Okay, so don't seat the fellow we sent up. We're sending him up there. Who are you to not seat him? Try us. Oh, we'll do worse than that. We'll elect Hillary. Oh, kidding. Now, not done with Roy Moore. Senator Richard Shelby, or as I like to call him, Dick. Dick Shelby said Sunday that his home state deserves better than to be represented by Republican Senate candidate Judge Roy, well, he didn't say Judge, Roy Moore, who has been accused of sexual misconduct against teenage girls, including one of his 14. We all know this. He says, I'd rather see the Republican win. You're a liar, Dick. If you did want to see the Republican win, you wouldn't say this crap. But I continue now. But I would hope that the Republican would be a write-in. Yes, Dick. We all know that everybody thinking up their own little Republican they like best and writing it in will make sure that somebody other than Roy Moore is going to win. But I continue now. I didn't vote for Roy Moore. Of course you didn't, you establishment punk. But I wrote in a distinguished Republican name. Get to the chopper. Could have been him. Shelby said, I'd rather see another Republican in there, and I'm going to stay with that story. I'm not going to vote for the Democrat, although you idiot, by voting for somebody besides Roy Moore, you voted for the Democrat. I didn't vote for the Democrat or advocate for the Democrat. You are now, you idiot. But I couldn't vote for Roy Moore. By the way, guess who else is on my radar now?
Who's that?
Well, Dick Shelby, but he's been on my radar for quite a while because he is nothing but an establishment punk. He went up there to D.C. and he's how do they do that? How do they go up there? Just the average Joe Blow, business owner, whatever. But, they're not bazillionaires. But then after a few times of being up there, they're bazillionaires.
Yeah.
Where are they getting this money?
Makes you wonder, huh?
It does. So now I will say this. Now, as far as now, the other thing, my area is I'm in the 2nd district in Alabama. So my House of Representatives representative is Martha Roby. Martha Roby endorsed Roy Moore, and like all the other representatives throughout Alabama, when all the sexual misconduct allegations came up, she said nothing. On the upside, she did not say, I don't like him anymore. But on the downside, she didn't say, really? Look at all this crap. Rubber stamped DA Deborah Adams forgery on anybody, because there's no way that 14-year-old had such bad luck throughout her life. Okay. All the things that's come out against all these people who made these allegations at such a really extremely interesting time. Okay, she didn't bother, and neither did the rest of them, by the way, bother to say anything in defense of Roy Moore. And it'd be really good if they had done that. But we all know that these people are establishment. Martha Roby, my representative to D.C., for example, is supposed to be a conservative, but she votes 100% of the time with Paul Ryan. Now, I don't mean stand with Paul Ryan, hold his hands. I mean voting in the same way Paul Ryan votes.
Maybe she does hold his hand.
Maybe. I don't know. Don't even want to know. But Paul Ryan is establishment. I would say that would make her establishment. Hey, you ever heard of anything called the No Child Left Behind?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there was something, what was it, in 2015, it was called Every Student Succeeds Act. Well, that basically reaffirmed and even made the whole concept of No Child Left Behind reach all the way down into kindergarten level. It puts all the power and control in the federal government and removes control from the students, from the parents. Uh-huh. Martha Roby voted for that. So you can imagine that Martha Roby is not my favorite of favorites, but never fear. Never fear. Well, you can fear if you ate a lot of hot, spicy food, but right now, never fear. There's a man that's going to challenge Martha Roby in 2018. His name is Tommy Amison. You've never heard of him.
Tommy Amison? Who's that?
He's the same guy we was talking about before we did the show, dummy.
I know. I'm trying to, get his name out there more.
Oh, my bad. Oh, Tommy Amison. Well, I'll tell you who Tommy Amison is. He is a fellow that he was originally from Florida, but his family moved to Watauga County, Alabama, in the 70s. He's a few years younger than me, which is not bad, though, because I'm 54. And he joined the military. And he is now a command sergeant major in the United States Army Reserve. Now, what does that mean? Command sergeant major. Have you ever been around the military?
Not a lot.
Okay. Well, the fellow that's supposed to be the write-in for Roy Moore that they threw out there was Colonel Busby. I don't know his first name. Don't know. I don't care. His name's Colonel Busby. He was a full bird colonel when he got out of the military. He was politically savvy enough to make it to full bird colonel. That tells me that he wasn't good enough at politics to make it to general. Okay. But he was not a soldier like I was. He didn't eat the dirt. He was not a private. He went in, he was an officer, and he is fully ensconced in the politics, even before he decided to run for politics. Tommy Amison, Command Sergeant Major Tommy Amison, is not that kind of guy. Tommy Amison went in as lower enlisted, went through basic training, went through AIT, worked his way through the ranks. Now, when I was in the Army, I made it to E5, and I did my dead level best to hang on to E5 because I was really good at my job, but I was a lousy soldier, if you know what I mean. It takes a lot of discipline and self-motivation to do the military right thing. Now, if you do that, if you're really good, if you're disciplined, and you want to do it and stay in, you can achieve first sergeant, sergeant major, even command sergeant major. Tommy Amison's been in for almost 30 years, and he is a command sergeant major, which means that he is extremely disciplined. He understands the Constitution, too. He is one who studies such things. And he is going to run against Martha Roby. Now, let's talk about what Tommy Amison's issues are. And this is what I like about him. And tell me who this reminds you of, okay?
All right.
Religious freedom. Right that is a right that is a first in the Constitution and kept safe because soldiers gave their lives to defend it. Oh, okay. Tommy Amison will never allow the government to infringe on our religious freedoms. He will work to end IRS restrictions that stop religious nonprofits and churches from freely speaking out on political issues. Actually, what that does is targets the conservatives. Have you ever noticed how the politicians will go to liberal, I'll just leave it at that, liberal churches and speak?
Uh-huh.
But anyway, he will also support the protection of people and businesses that make decisions based on their religious convictions, such as bakeries, florists, photographers, etc. How's that sound? Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I'm on board.
Now, veterans. He is 100% against veterans, and he wants to abolish the Veterans Administration.
He's against veterans?
I was wondering if you're listening. Of course not. He's a command sergeant major in the United States Army Reserve. Of course he's for the veterans, and he wants to take care of the veterans. He had a very close personal friend who committed suicide from undiagnosed PTSD, which, by the way, people think PTSD, whatever. It's real, okay? And he wants to make sure the veterans are taken care of, and he doesn't want anybody to fall through the cracks, and neither do I, neither do you, and neither does any other good American. What about the Second Amendment?
He's for it.
Yeah. How'd you know that?
Just took a wild guess.
That was a great guess, man. He is for the Second Amendment. He understands the Constitution. He knows what it's about. It's for protection of the country and it's protection of yourself. So, of course, you have the right to keep and bear arms. What person doesn't understand that other than idiotic Democrats and Republican establishment bastards? Immigration. Tommy Amison believes a sovereign nation or state should never have to apologize for asking foreigners to seek citizenship through a democratic process. He will support Donald Trump's efforts to strengthen our borders and build a wall. Prospective immigrants should be able to show that they will not need to be dependent on our welfare system. He believes sanctuary cities should be defunded by our government. Now, if you would add in also, they should be stormed by federal stormtroopers and razed to the ground. I mean, that would be the icing on the cake. Education. Remember what I was talking about with Martha Roby?
Yes, No Child Left Behind thing.
Yeah. Tommy Amundsen believes in limited federal oversight of education and more control in the hands of the state, county, and local communities. Now, what does that mean? That means if Moonbeam Brown and y'all want to have a bunch of mealy-mouthed, feel-good snowflakes who don't know that 2 + 2 = 4, but they do understand what they feel about it, then that's your right over there. You can do what you want. But if over here in Alabama, we want to compete with the rest of the world, and we want to know trigonometry and calculus and other stuff that I never learned, then we have the right to focus on that. We have the right to set our own goals and reinforce what's important. And then we'll kick you cotton-picking commie California asses when it comes to jobs, not to mention businesses. But agriculture, we all like to eat, don't we? I like to eat. And I like to eat things that eat agriculture, like cows. Tommy Amundsen will fight ever-increasing and overreaching regulations that threaten the farming industry in Alabama. And if he's fighting for Alabama, he's fighting for the rest of the country. Did you know that more farmers are committing suicide than veterans nowadays?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I'm not either. I mean, I read that either yesterday or today. Well, actually, I kind of skimmed through it, but I do remember that being the case. I think that's sad. Who's going to grow my food? Stop killing yourselves. Tommy Amundsen is on the way. The economy, lower taxes, less regulations, and more jobs. Well, actually, I'm not going to go through the economy thing. He reminds me of Trump. Except for he's a more disciplined Trump that has served 30 years in the military.
I was going to say, that could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, this guy has got discipline.
He reminds you of the good parts of Trump. How's that?
Yeah, exactly. All the good parts of Trump, and never mind the bad parts, because Tommy ain't got them. Drain the swamp. I've heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Amundsen shares President Trump's desire to rid the government of leaders that would work for their own agenda and not the people they serve. Now, read between the lines there. What does that tell you? Their own agenda. You see, this is the thing about people like Command Sergeant Major Emerson. He's been around politics enough to work around it. He can move through it and not get dirty, but he knows how to talk. Tommy Amundsen shares President Trump's desire to rid the government of leaders that work for their own agenda and not for the people they serve. The swamp, the establishment, the globalist.
He basically sounds to me like just a regular Joe kind of guy that's kind of fed up with the government.
He wants to get it back to the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so he's going in there to change it, which is a good thing.
Right. Now, if we can get Roy Moore up there, Tommy Amundsen, get rid of Dick Shelby. If you guys over on the left coast can do something about all of it,
I can't make any promises there.
I understand, my goodness. But every victory brings us closer to bringing the country back together, and I am 100% backing Tommy Amundsen. You've heard it right here on the Denton and Sasquatch Show, episode number 76.
Yes, that was quite the endorsement. That was like a 10-minute commercial for the man.
Well, hey, we need to get him on the show.
Which, hey, I'm all for it. Let's bring him on.
All right, we're going to get him on next week. Next year in 2018, a little closer towards the election time, we need to have him on the show.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, I'm done with my political rants for the evening. What do you have?
Oh, let's keep you going politically.
All right. Why not?
Well, President Trump is honoring the heroes of the civil rights movement.
Hang 'em.
Yeah. Trump attended the opening of the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum yesterday. He said, "Here we memorialize the brave men and women who struggled to sacrifice so much so that others might live in freedom." Two prominent African-American lawmakers boycotted the event. House Democrat John Lewis and Benny Thompson called Trump's appearance an insult to people who are honored in the museum. Also, a couple hundred protesters greeted President Trump's motorcade outside the museum.
How do they justify saying that and doing those things?
I don't know, because they run around all the time saying, we're tolerant, we're inclusive. And then when it comes to this, they don't tolerate him being there and they don't want to include him.
So the pieces of dirt and I'm being very polite there, the pieces of dirt scream at him for being a racist, which there is absolutely no indication that he is a racist.
Mm-hmm.
He may grab female parts, okay, admittedly, but he has never said anything about people of minority, especially blacks. All right, now he goes to the museum, and what do? Oh, we're not going to show up because, well, he's there. What do you want from the man?
Well, that's just the thing. It doesn't matter what he does. Damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Well, that just tells me we're in favor of the right guy because, you know, all the bad people are attacking him.
Yeah, that's an easy barometer to go by. If somebody's against Trump, well, then they're not. No, I totally lost my track.
Well, that's the way I look at Roy Moore. All the people I don't like are against him. Ergo. But yeah, I would love to go to that museum.
All right, field trip.
Wouldn't you like to go?
Sure, I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any mementos there from the president from his trip.
You mean just this recent trip yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah, do they take a picture of him being there and put it in the museum? That'd be part of the museum history of him being there.
Well, they probably took a picture and told him they were going to put it in the museum. But I have a feeling it's, in the closet, the broom closet.
Well, it'd be the first visit by racist president.
Well, I know. I'm surprised he didn't wear his white hood.
Yeah. So, okay, well, that was a pretty good piece. And I'm sorry I derailed you. I'm sure I derailed you.
No, that's fine. I just, just want to throw it out there, let people know that our racist president is going to the Civil Rights Museum.
So who now? Everybody's confused. The racists are confused if they ought to be voting for him anymore. What do you call them? The other side, well, they're confused. They don't know if they should vote for him. Maybe they ought to. Everybody's confused. Way to go, Donald. Confuse everybody.
Keep them confused.
All right.
Well, confusing is all the sexual assault, harassment type stuff going on right now, wouldn't you say?
Didn't do nothing. I didn't do it.
Well, of course not. You're an upstanding citizen.
Until we are very successful at this podcast.
Then we can start assaulting women?
Well, apparently. If you're a politician, you're a very successful entertainer, you get to do these things.
All right. Let's make this happen.
All right.
I got some assaulting to do. No,
and some peppering.
I bring this up because it's just it's gotten so absurd. I mean, I don't even think it has to be said, but I'll say it anyway. Denton and I both don't think. Well, I mean, most humans on this planet that are good people don't think assaulting another person is the right thing to do, and don't do it.
Well, Muslims.
We'll save that for later.
Okay.
But just the whole thing has gotten so absurd. New York City removed its mistletoe nicknamed Kisseltoe from Grand Central Station due to outcry this Friday. An organization named the Grand Central Partnership took down its mistletoe and signs reading "Pucker Up" due to the backlash. President Fred Carullo told the New York Post, "Women believe that such signs would encourage unwanted advances from strangers in the wake of the growing awareness of sexual misconduct in 2017. Having the mistletoe up might give people the wrong idea," says New Yorker Barbara Schwartz. "It's a holiday tradition, but given the conversation about sexual assault right now, it's bad timing," also said Sandra Rappaport. My head's going to explode.
Rappaport. I love that name, Rappaport.
Who is running up to women in the subway and just planting one on them because there's a piece of tree above them? I've never heard of that happening. And if it does happen...
Didn't know nothing.
Yeah, and if that does happen, that's assault. A police officer should arrest that person. It boggles my mind how stupid people have become.
Okay. The whole mistletoe thing, wasn't that like an organized thing in New York City where it was like, it was officially hung? You know what I'm saying? The mistletoe.
Oh, yeah, in the Grand Central Station. Yeah, I guess it's a tradition there. They do it every year.
Yeah. Okay. So
it doesn't say how long it's been going on for, but I would guess quite a while. And you don't have women getting attacked in the subway or in the Grand Central Station all the time.
It sounds like It's a Wonderful Life. It reminds me of Jimmy Stewart there. But so I'm sure that the people there know where mistletoe is. Now, if you're standing under mistletoe, then you know what's going to happen, correct?
I guess so. I don't know.
I mean, it's cheating if you have a piece of mistletoe in your pocket and you go up to a girl and you throw it over her head and then kiss her. I mean, that's cheating. Okay.
Or a mistletoe belt buckle.
Definitely cheating. Definitely. But this is retarded. So removing mistletoe is going to that makes sense. I mean, if you remove mistletoe, the politicians and the entertainment industry are going to act right now, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's going to cure everything. Going to take care of the entire problem.
And so this Rappaport chick, she's against kissing.
Apparently so.
So if her husband sneaks up behind her and gives her a kiss on the neck,
that's assault.
Oh. And it's his fault for marrying her.
I mean, I remember as a kid having mistletoe at Christmas time in the house, and like my parents would walk under and be like, "Oh, you're under the mistletoe, you guys got to kiss," and they would look at each other and then kiss each other. My dad wouldn't just attack my mom every time she walked under the mistletoe. Mm-hmm. So I don't see where they're just so paranoid these days that anything is going to cause somebody to attack somebody else.
The most vile, vulgar, the most abominable thing under the laws of nature, nature's God, is totally protected by these crazy pieces of dirt. But something as innocent as mistletoe is being taken away. Makes sense to me. Drink up, we're doomed. We're done. See ya.
I almost feel that way after reading a dumb story like that. My God.
Okay, but going back to the slavery issue.
Yes.
This is breaking news.
Uh-oh. Breaking news.
Yes. Snow is dumping so hard on the Colts-Bills game, you can't even see the field. It's a virtual whiteout.
Well, that's racist.
This is what they get for kneeling. Because of their kneeling activities, there is a whiteout. And I'm not talking about white folks not going to the games, which, by the way, now the ticket's going down as low as $10 per ticket. That's still overpriced, if you ask me. Snow is against them. Mother Nature is a racist bitch.
Well, I've known that for a long time.
Okay, I'm done with that breaking news. Continue.
Well, I mean, Mother Nature, she only floods poor areas, right? So, of course she's racist.
Right. Well, that is true. Okay. So, Rappaport, mistletoe, they got to go.
Hey, look at that. Did you just come up with that?
If the glove don't fit, never mind. Hey, what you got next?
Well, we could talk about crime in California if that floats your boat.
Heck yeah. Because, Alabama and California is what we excel in.
Yes.
And we're all really, nobody's interested in Alabama. Although I'm trying to get people interested in politics across the board, we're all interested in Mickey Mouse.
Well, I'll give a little background on this. As everyone knows, California is sort of the stew pot where the liberals throw all their crappy ideas and see what floats.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it doesn't work here, if it's something that they all seem to like, they try to spread it out all over the nation. And one of the things they've been doing here is letting prisoners out of jail. Let me see if I can find it here. It's in the story somewhere. But anyway, we have things like AB 109, which released like 30,000 felons. Basically what they're doing is they're changing felonies to misdemeanors and then letting these people out saying, oh, they only have a misdemeanor. They shouldn't be in jail.
Well,
and this is part of Moonbeam's thing, too, because he wants people out of jail for one, but also because he's been directed by a judge to either build more jails or let people out because we have overcrowding in our jails. So he decided, well, let's just let him out.
Let them out. What kind of crimes, though? Look, this is kind of where I get kind of, I go kind of off the rails a little bit. I kind of go on my own little way of looking at life. If there are certain things that you do that, you just can't come back from.
Well,
we bring people into jail, we let them go, we bring them back, let them go, bring them back. Criminy.
Well, our
bust a cap in the ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, our can't even think of the
recidivism.
Word. Yes, our rate for that is very high here. But no, when they first passed this AB 109, some of the laws that they were changing to misdemeanor were rape.
Mm-hmm.
So
rape is a misdemeanor.
These are it was a felony, but these liberals that say they are for women's rights decided to change rape from a felony into a misdemeanor. Well, people got up in arms about that. And then also one of the other ones was child rape. But so they cut those out of the bill. But still, a lot of these crimes are violent criminals. Let me read here. A study by San Francisco-based anti-incarceration group Center on Juvenile and Criminal Justice reports that for most of California, sentencing reforms adopted in the state since 2011 have not caused an increase in crime. This was reported uncritically Tuesday by the Los Angeles Times. The study concluded that outside of Los Angeles has enjoyed less crime since adopting new laws, releasing criminals, and reducing penalties. Now you're following along, right? They're saying that.
Oh yeah.
They're saying that it's gone down.
Yeah.
These new laws include AB 109, which released roughly 30,000 habitual felons, not just felons, habitual felons, into communities and prohibited those who commit most new crimes from going to prison. Proposition 47, which reclassified theft and drug felonies of less than $950 into misdemeanors, and Proposition 57, which removed mandatory sentence increases for repeat felons.
I thought it was a felony after over $20.
Well, now it's over $950, but...
Well, they're accounting for inflation.
But that also includes violent priors, so... the Sacramento-based Criminal Justice League Legal Foundation says that this study is bogus. The key to the study's finding is its lumping of violent and property crime into the category named overall crime. By doing this, the increasing violent crime in California is offset by the decreasing property crime. Why has there been a decrease in property crime reported to the police? One reason is that the crimes committed most frequently, theft and fraud of less than $950, were transformed into misdemeanors. Imagine that.
Hey.
So people
they have figured out how to make crime go down.
Yes,
rename it.
Exactly. People are saying, why should I call the cops and report this? Because nothing's going to be done about it. So if you get screwed out of anything less than $950, you're just SOL.
Doesn't that drive up more incidents of, what do they call it, vigilantism?
Well, that's the other thing. They don't let us have guns here, so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of, well, you could baseball bats.
That's true.
Lucille.
Now, when the focus is on violent crimes in California, state and federal data indicate dramatic increases. The report, Crime in California for 2016, released in August, shows across-the-board increase in violent crime, with homicide jumping nearly 5% after a 10% increase in 2015, while robbery and aggravated assault were also up. The increase in rape was the highest at over 7%. The State Attorney General's report shows that from 2014 to 2016, homicide in California rose by 15.3%, robbery by 12.5%, and aggravated assault by 13.7%. Another indicator of the danger placed on Californians by these reforms is the number of police officers killed in the line of duty by so-called low-level criminals. These policies have kept on the streets. Over the past 14 months, five California police officers have been killed by habitual criminals who would have been in jail or state prison prior to the 2011 enacted AB 109 or Governor Brown's Public Safety Realignment Law.
Public safety. Yeah.
So
I think they ought to rename that.
So yeah, well, they should. I mean, of course he's going to name it something that sounds good to everybody, but basically what they're doing is, these guys have long histories of being violent, and they're on probation, and then they do something little, and they go, oh, well, he stole a candy bar. Well, that's against his probation, but we're going to let him out anyway. And then these guys go and shoot a cop.
Do you see why I want to be elected tyrant?
Oh, I do. I would reign right along there at your side.
If elected tyrant, habitual felons will no longer be habitual. You can't do it again once you've had your neck stretched. It's not going to happen. No, I'm not going to waste a bullet on you. No, I'm not going to waste chemicals, lethal injection, because I am eco-friendly. I love greenery. As a matter of fact, just to make the Californians happy, it's going to be hemp rope.
I say we put them in a wood chipper and use them as mulch.
Hey, that'll work too. I like it.
But I guess
Moonbeam Brown's crazy.
Oh, he is crazy, that's for sure.
But the rest of them are too. I mean, he's just a governor.
Oh, everybody in politics here is crazy. But the moral of my story here, basically, for everybody out there, is when they throw things at you like this, and we've got this public safety realignment law. Look into it before you agree to this, because really, what they're trying to do is get people out of jail, and these people they're trying to get out of jail are usually violent.
I can't believe the numbers that you were talking about there. 15% increase in murder, violent crimes.
Oh yeah.
And they find this to be a victory. Man, California. Ronald Reagan would not recognize his own state.
No, he would not.
Walt Disney wouldn't either. But then again, Walt Disney wouldn't even recognize his own company. So.
All right, I'm done raging. You got anything else?
Yeah. I had something, but I done forgot about it. But I would like to remind y'all that if you want to commiserate with us, or at least me, over at taurusarm.net. Let's talk about guns, because if this isn't the kind of stuff that makes you want to go and get a gun and just get ready for doomsday, wait till next week. We'll be here again. But go over to taurusarm.net. Hey, if you're into prepper forums, go to prepperforums.net, where we talk about doomsday all the time, as well as politics, which drives us back into doomsday, and guns and other things. And you can also contact us by Denton and Sass Show at gmail.com. By the way, we're also on YouTube. You can check us out at Denton and Sasquatch Show on YouTube. Thanks to Sasquatch there, but it's on YouTube.
And make sure you review our stuff. That helps us out. It helps out in the ratings, and people will see more of our stuff if we have better ratings. So please help out and review us. Give us a thumbs up.
And pass on. Hey, look here. We know we got a lot of podcast. I'm an old folk, Actually, I don't even know. I can't even blame any of this on being old, because I didn't grow up with podcasting or YouTube.
I don't think many of us did.
Yeah, but YouTube is kind of easy. It's on the internet. You see a video, then you realize, oh, this is connected to what? YouTube. And so there's a bajillion YouTubes there. Podcasting is kind of different to me. So it's easier for me to go to YouTube place. Yeah, go over to YouTube and click on us there so other people on YouTube can see us. And they're probably going to be old people that says, oh, it's a video. I can listen to the video. Oh, did I just do Jerry Brown?
You sounded like Moonbeam.
The rivers are going to be boiling.
And remember, just because this show sucked doesn't mean they're all this way. So take a listen.
It didn't suck because
why?
Tommy Amison, Command Sergeant Tommy Amison, is running for the 2nd District, House of Representatives, Alabama.
Yes, very important. And I'd like to endorse Tommy Amison, even though I'm a liberal from California.
I'm pretty sure Tommy Amison ripped his head off and, well, never mind. Anyway, that all being said, even though Tommy's going to try to save the day, and I believe he's going to do his best, I still say that we are probably doomed.
So go ahead and drink up.
Good night, everybody.
I